I think that's about right. Mini Wargamer Dave here from miniwargamer.com. Welcome, Wargamers, to the Shrine of Chaos. Today, we will jump into a discussion about some 3D printing and what that means for you, for us, for me, for the world. Now, here, let me just pull this up here on the side window. There's something going on with the OBS, and so I'm not able to see all the comments consolidated in one place, so I'm going to be jumping back and forth between YouTube and Twitch and Facebook, so you have to bear with me for a little bit. But it's really nice to meet with you guys and to see what you're up to. Hold on, there it is. Okay, I got it right there. Boom. All right, I'm going to turn that off so you don't hear an echo, because that won't be good for business. And then here, once again on Twitch, I'll just get set up here just for a second. Just for a second. Just for a moment. One moment. There we go. Switching back and forth. I like it. Okay. 3D. Why am I even asking this? What does that have to do with anything that's going on right now? The reason why I'm asking is because someone posed the question to me. In fact, there's a current poll right now going on in the YouTube community, the Mini Wargaming YouTube community, for 3D printing in general and what that means. So let's take a look at that just so you can see what it's all about. It's an important question. Very important. Boom. Okay, good. Good community. Awesome. Boom. All right. Let's see what happens when I do this. You can see it now. This is the current poll going on right now. I posted it close to an hour ago. And here are the questions. Okay, so if you want to go over there right now, which is on the YouTube community, Mini Wargaming YouTube community, and you want to vote on your answers. So currently, you buy STL files, okay? You create them, you buy 3D printed minis, you print 3D printed minis, or none of the above. Okay, I'm just kind of gauging interest. If you are interested in it, then I'd like to know why and what aspects of it you are interested in. And the reason why there's 4, let's look at the first 4 options there, which are the answers that I'm most interested in, is because there's a difference between buying STL files and creating STL files, which makes sense that the create STL files is the lowest percentage of people, because in order to do that, that means you are sculpting in 3D space and you're creating the STL files. Like, obviously that would be the lowest percentage of people, because that's what we're talking about, the artists, going right back to the artist. If you are a 3D artist and you're making miniatures and you're making these in the form of STL files and you're making them available for people to either get them from you, acquire it from you, buy it from you, whatever it is, I'm interested to know that. I also recognize that this poll it's not a 100% accurate representation of the overall interest that the Mini Wargaming audience has, because chances are, if you care at all about 3D printing, you're going to vote on this, right? Like, if you didn't care at all, the chances of you even voting anything is lower on this. So I'm grabbing, if that makes sense, right? Like, the results of this poll will most likely come from the people that are somewhat interested in it, or just people that like to give their opinion. There's always that mixed in too. It's not 100% only people interested in 3D printing. But anyway, reason why I'm asking is because, thank you very much for that. The reason why I'm asking is, if we look at the post below it, right here, this is also posted on the Warhammer community, also posted on Facebook and Instagram today. So if you happen to check those out, you'll see this comic strip made by Lazy Squire Games. So this is the first of many, and I'm not going to go over it right here. I'll give you a chance to read it after. But as you can see, who's featured in it, it is so far Matt and myself, and it's Rob and Nicola from Lazy Squire Games. And we're going to go on some adventures in the grim, dark 41st millennium, and wherever that brings us. So that's the first of many panels that'll be posted, so check that out too. So how that relates to the 3D printing. Okay, so I got a call today with Nicola and Rob, and we were talking about the idea of printing some models. And first off, if you guys would be interested in having a say in what is printed. First off, if you're interested in 3D printing in general, and then above that, if you're interested in having a say in what's being printed. And if you are interested in having a say and want to vote on specific options and have your opinion influence the outcome of that, that's really what I wanted to know. And that is the purpose of today's stream and today's discussion. So I'm going to look at the comments right now. I'll start with YouTube to see what's going on. Thank you, Brian F. Nord, for donating what you did. Noda, 3D print your head like Mikey Hellstorm. That's very funny. Mikey, he's a good guy. He's a good person who likes people, and I would buy one of his minis. That's all I'll say about that. Let's see what else. Is it working now? Yes, it's working. Currently, none of the above. However, I will be creating and printing my own minis eventually, says Corius Farron, Primarch of the Second Legion. Very cool. So, a question for you, Corius Farron, Primarch of the Second Legion. Would you want to have a say in what's printed here? Because what's printed here will become available later for the masses, in various forms of it being available. We'll have to see exactly what that means. Check audio. Audio's low. Does audio still feel low? I just upped it a little bit. I'm going to up it just a bit, want to keep us... hold on. If you're looking for some cool alternate 40K, look at Dark Foundry Miniatures, awesome DG, Crons, and Marines. I know there's a lot of existing 3D printing companies out there. And that there's no end to... there's a lot of that. And there's a lot of third-party companies printing things that can be used as proxy in the games of 40K and Age of Sigmar and all that. So that is definitely something that I would be interested in. Hi, Rob. How are you? And not something else. I wouldn't want to, I would definitely want to go that route because, after all, that is what the Mark of Dave is. It is proxying on the tabletop with cool minis. I think that's cool. Print a Lord of Contagion. It's hard to get. See, that is something that I actually would not do because that, in my opinion, is not something that I'd feel good doing. I wouldn't print specifically a Lord of Contagion or something that's called a Lord of Contagion that wasn't a GW product because, and this is just my opinion, guys, and I'm going to probably open up a can of worms by saying this, that to me doesn't support the community or the hobby in the way in which I want to support it. See, because that's my feeling and opinion, there it is. I'm not stating it as law. That's just how I feel. That's my personal feeling on it. When it comes to that stuff, I shy away from that. When it comes to creating new stuff that you choose to play on the tabletop in whatever gaming system you want to play it in, whether it's 40K or D&D or whatever it is, all for that. 100% for that. Let's see. Sheep Overlord. Maybe let Matthew know about the Maker's Cult. They have a range of cybernetic Tyranids created in lore by a deranged tech priest. Says Sheeple Overlord. That sounds cool. And should I remember to tell him that, I will definitely tell him that. Because, between here and there, which is his room right next to mine, I'm going to go through a doorway. And we know what happens to memory as it goes through a doorway. The memory gets wiped. Don't know why. It just happens. Troy Milton says, I've been using a 3D resin printer for a while. Been making bits for my Kanachin. So, and that's cool too. I think that's, in fact, GW even came out and said that. They said that using bits, printing bits and attaching them to your models, that's something that they allow in tournaments. That's what I heard anyway. I didn't actually read that anywhere. I just heard it. So if you guys know where that was said, let me know. At this point, it's really a rumor in my brain. Where are my hosers at? Says Scratch Bashing. Well, I don't know, Mr. Canadian, but they're somewhere. I can tell you that. Gotta be. Corius Variant says, Primark in the second league. I don't really care what you guys print. To me, I need to make it myself for it to be acceptable. Oh, there's a certain standard of printing that you're abiding by. I see. Makes sense. Reese Dignan says, I know a lot of 3D Battletech mech sculpt are very good quality, and many players prefer using them to the metal ones. Interesting, right? Like, that again kind of delves into the idea of is it replacing something specifically that does it look exact same, or is it like a proxy? Because there's one thing to print something that looks the exact same, another thing to proxy. Jason Jur, Squad Army. See now, dwarves with armor, you know, that's a generic thing enough where you can kind of make it look like however you want, and I'd say go for it. Absolutely. Shoot me a PM about Dark Foundry. I work with them. Michael Morris. Michael Morris. Okay. If you could, Michael Morris, could you please email me, dave@miniwargaming.com. I will respond to an email if it is from Michael Morris. If you're sending me an email and it's other stuff, not going to respond to it because it's not related to what we're talking about right now. Dave, you should print the MWG staff. They would be great objective markers. And what exactly? What kind of objective markers would that be? What would that look like? Would that be we have like we're working on stuff and it's gonna like blow up if we don't get there in time? I guess it could be a number of different things, right? Although not a bad idea, kind of funny. What would you recommend for converting a master possession so it looks like Alistair from Hazbin Hotel? That's an interesting question. I'll have to be completely transparent. I don't know what Hazbin Hotel is, so there's no reference in my brain for that. Oliver Feeney says, Dave, do some Warrior of Chaos for your AOS army. See, now that's funny because I don't really play AOS. Not currently, anyway. I must say, I am looking at doing it just because of the new edition looks awesome. So I do have a Warriors of Chaos army, but I don't currently play AOS. Haven't played in a while. The last time I played was when I used Blades of Khorne versus the Kharadron Overlords in a Path to Glory campaign with Josh. That's the last time I played, and that was, I guess that was just under a year ago. But should I play again, it will definitely be in the Path to Glory format, moving forward and using that campaign system. That's how I like to play Age of Sigmar. Reese Dignan says, Dave, I believe it's part replace/proxy, as the only place to get certain mechs for Battle Mech is Iron Wind Metals, an American company, so it's very expensive for EU players. Part replace proxy. Okay, yeah. Again, that's different than completely printing new models. That's like you print. It's like when you print if you print shoulder pads and you put them on your Marines, you know, or you print a gun and you put it on, and you print like you know, armor plates or whatever it is. That in my mind is different. What about printing a WizKids Pathfinder Bone Golem? See, now that you're talking about printing a specific model from a specific company with an existing line of minis. Is that what you're asking me? Then, yeah, that's not what I want. That's not what I want to do. Dave, have mercy. The notifications on Twitch are too loud. Okay, well, let's take this desktop audio and put it way down. Okay, you don't need that. You need this mic. You don't need the desktop mic. So I'm putting it way down. Let's see what happens next time. Let's go on Twitch and get some comments there. Twitch. Cybernetic Tyranids says Xanthides. Yeah, we're going back in the conversation a little bit right now. King Manadork says, objective marker idea, a banner with the mark of Dave. Okay, that's a well, interesting idea. Okay, so there was a chime there from Twitch. Was that super loud? Let me know. If it was, I've already turned down the desktop audio in OBS, and I apologize. I don't want to tinker around with it. I'm just going to have to apologize in advance for your eardrums. Much better? Okay, awesome. Makes sense why I can't find the button. Oh, wait, hold on. Banner with the mark of Dave. That's interesting. I'm going to go back to YouTube here for the comments. Dave, print an Emperor class Titan. Well, I think you know the answer to that right now. The answer is I'm not going to. I'm going to print proxy. Well, okay, I shouldn't say that. If there was a model that was large and impressive, possibly even ostentatious, and I could use it as a proxy in Warhammer 40k or Apocalypse, and I just happen to use it as an Emperor class Titan, but it wasn't called that, but I'm just using it as that, but it's like equal in terms of detail and awesomeness, then, you know, ultimately at the end of the day, a person's hobby is a person's hobby, and they can do whatever they do in their personal hobby time is like, that's different. That's different than me promoting something on my channel as part of the business. That's completely different. Hobby, like your personal hobby, like go nuts. You know, how you choose to do your hobby is completely up to you. What I would do in my personal hobby is different than what I would promote on the channel. I know you can see the distinction and the difference there. Guard is great for proxies, cool tanks, or regiments that just don't exist in the game. Now, see, this I agree with, because there's many companies that they don't even 3D print necessarily models. They just simply make miniatures that are oftentimes used as proxies in 40k because of the vast variety of models that exist. Because, let's face it, guardsmen are human, and so it's the easiest to make proxies for that. It just makes sense. Civilian markers protect civilians as an objective. Okay, so that's actually a fantastic idea. I would love that. That would be great. So many times in narrative setting, heck, not even in narrative settings, just in gameplay settings, that would be a great idea for an objective. And what I would do is probably, because you know, you got those neoprene mats that are circular and they go right on top of your game mat, and they show the footprint of the objective marker. If you haven't seen those, check them out. Specifically on JW Gaming, there are many wargaming specific ones on JW Gaming, so check that out. Those are sweet. So what I would do is I would have these, really they're just models that are printed in stacks of prisoner civilians that I can put within that template, within that objective marker. Alternatively, I can have one that's like has the kind of the footprint of a typical objective marker that goes out 3 inches from it. I could do that as well. Either option would be good, I think. But I love variety. Print minis for and make an expansion for the Rangers game. I have introduced 2 friends to it, and we love it. APOC Switch. Thank you. And thank you for multiple reasons. And ultimately for liking the Matrix, because, you know, that's what APOC Switch is from. I'm just saying. For those who weren't born in an age where they got to see that movie in the theater. I saw that movie twice in one day. That was probably one of the only ones ever in history where I went and saw a matinee and I saw the movie, and then I went later on that evening and I saw it again because I was just so blown away by it. Anyway, battle effects like your good friend Taught Nick uses. You mean Tau Nick? You say Taught Nick. You're talking about Tau Nick on Play on Tabletop? Battle effects? Battle effects, that is a fantastic idea. See, that is something we could use more of in the hobby, right? Anyone can use that. And that's like not specific to any sort of faction or army. That's just, you can use it no matter what army you collect. So that is a fantastic, you know what, hold on. That's a really good idea. I'm going to write it. There's been a bunch of good ideas so far, and I'm gonna start writing these down so I don't forget them. Okay. 3D printing ideas from community, because that's what you guys are. Awesome. So this is, what is it? Battle effects? What did you say? What'd you call it? Battle effects. Hold on. The chat went down there. Battle effects, yes. Battle effects. Awesome. What was the other one? That was a prisoner civilians. Civilians. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get all the ideas that I like here, and then I'm going to put them all as options in a poll. And then out of that poll, I'll see which ones come up the most. And if they're all pretty well equal in their response, then I know that they're all good ideas, right? Or at least that's how I'm going to look at it. I saw some very cool bits to customize your Marines, like spears instead of swords, cool shields. You don't have to print a full Marine, but only the parts you want. That's an interesting thing too. Okay, so print only parts, i.e. swords, shields. That's not a bad idea, because that can actually cross over for multiple game systems. Battle effects is a fantastic idea. I absolutely agree. It is a really... there is a Spanish company specialized in battle effects for Warhammer, says Daniel Sanchez. And here, this is my response to that. There are many companies that are dedicated to many things that are dedicated to Warhammer, that already exist. So I say the more the merrier. That's my response to that. Not that you were trying to start a back and forth about it, but that's what I think about that. I think it's cool. Turn marker flags could set on the table on the side as a visual reference when filming. Turn marker flags. Turn marker flags. Elaborate on that, Talamir. What do you mean? Where was 3D printing when Space Marines had access to power lances? I mean, that's a good question. Loggy K says, makes a great modular kits for serial MKs of Marks of Armor. His work is the basis for a lot of other people's digital kit bashing. Loggy K. Okay, look up Loggy K. Okay. I'm just, from you guys, I am creating this homework list. Dave, why not use them to print off custom adventures for fantasy games, RPGs? Think like Hero Forge, but your own models. I mean, see, that's an interesting thing, because Hero Forge is, in this particular case, Hero Forge has an extremely robust, I can't even tell you how many permutations that exist within their modeling software, I want to call it. And plus, oh, by the way, you get a free set of dice if you're a Mini Wargaming Silver Vault member. When you make a purchase on Hero Forge, there's a coupon code in the Silver Vault member page, so check that out. Just so happens to be related to this. Print Malal. If you're a true believer, you will deny my wish. If you are a true believer, you will deny my wish. So then don't print Malal. I use Elegoo Mars 2 Pro to print D&D figured and kit bash stuff for orcs. If you are 3D printing, I recommend going with a high resolution resin printer. FDE printers don't have high resolution. So here's the thing about this. This is like kind of the exploration stage. This isn't necessarily the I'm going to go out and get a 3D printer stage. This is just gauging interest from you guys, compiling ideas into something, and seeing where it organically grows into. Because it could go in that direction. It could also go in the direction of, we're going to create some fantastic sculpts and make them available in STL files, but do it via campaign so that we actually make up for the cost of doing that, right? Like that would be something. I mean, there's a lot of people that do that. And to take it a step further, we could also just do it both, where we make the STL files available, plus we actually print the miniatures through a miniatures company, and then we make it all available via campaign. I mean, there's that too. 100% resin printers for miniatures. Use that for my custom Eldar. But again, 3D prints are amazing to make personal armies. I agree. In case you missed it earlier, faction-specific objective markers would be cool. I have made a few from scratch myself. So those are super cool, I must say. The faction-specific ones, that's always a fine line, though, because when you make it faction-specific, it's like, okay, well, that's clearly a Chaos Space Marine, Khorne, whatever, right? Or you can make it like something Chaos, where it's more generic, and then you're totally fine within the realm of creativity and do whatever you want with it, right? Like, you know, you have piles of skulls. There's piles of chests that are magical, and then, you know, those are the objectives. So Did I miss the part where all the crew makes their respective selves as champions of their armies and we get MWG tournament? You did not miss that part because that part did not exist yet, but that's fine. An army of mini Daves moving across the board. That's a funny suggestion. I would never do that because that's, the ego. Why would I do that? That would make me feel uncomfortable because of, other than serving ego, what is the purpose of that? How does that serve you any? That serves me. That's great. But how does it serve you? You should get 3D printed heads of it. Okay, so that, I'm going to write this idea down because there's multiple people saying that. Okay, so MWG heads of crew members. Sister Hospitaler. Hospitaler? Variants that are actually trying to heal instead of preach / last rites. So you're just talking about a nun head, right? That's an interesting thing, doing heads, because I think there's a lot of flexibility when it comes to that. In my mind, that kind of fits within the realm of printing bits that you attach to your models, right? That supports the hobby. 3D prints of Vault members. Do you mean like you submit yourself for a print, and that's one of the perks you get with Vault members, as being a Vault member? Now I totally want a Khorne Berserker champion with Dave's head roaring. Jack Pinner. That's funny. Maybe we'll do something like this, okay? Because that's funny. Okay, so we also get Chapter Master Davicus needs to happen. I mean, that has already happened. Funny enough, he's sitting right there on the shelf. Let's go on to Twitch and see what you guys are saying here. Shoulder pads with the mark of Dave. Actually, why didn't I think of that? Shoulder pads with mark of Dave. Okay. Mini War Gaming exclusively designed terrain. Dave on a throne of Khorne. That would be funny. Dave as a champion of chaos would be insane. What would that even look like? Would it be... what would that look like? That's my question. What would that even look like? If you're going to have minis made and have someone else print them, Pop Goes the Monkey does excellent quality. I agree. I think they do. What about custom bases for models? Custom bases. Let's write that idea down. Custom bases. Thank you for the idea, King Manadork. Shoulder pads with the mark of Dave. Fantastic idea. Okay, again. Shut up and take my money! You know what? That's actually, as of late, that's become one of my favorite sayings to see online. That's one of the best compliments a channel, a brand, a person, a company can receive is shut up and take my money. It works every time, and it's flattering every time. It's a fun thing to say. Thank you, Joshua. Similar to civilians, native flora and fauna. Native flora. Okay, you're talking about like terrain. Specific like terrain bits. Right? I don't know why the elongated thought. There really didn't need to be more than that. There's actually a really good company that currently does that I know of, and they're called Ravenous Miniatures. Now, if you happen to be a Silver Vault member, you get discount to their store. And the reason why I know that is because, A, they're a company in the Vault, one of the companies that we work with to provide discounts to our Silver Vault members. And I also got a whole bunch of models from them, had them painted up, and when I say models, I mean objective marker specific miniatures that I'm using in narrative games. And there's a lot. The variety, there's a ton of variety on there. So check that out. Ravenous Miniatures. Ravenous Miniatures. Native plants and animals. You should print Grot Tanos from Gear Guts Mech Shop. Gear Guts Mech Shop. they're a company that is of interest to me, both business-wise and personally. And you know what? Maybe I should just say this. There is communication back and forth between them and I and me. All of us. We're all talking. We're all talking about it. No specific details yet, though. You'll find out more in the future. Probably in the form of giveaways. If I said that, I said it, but I also said probably. So, yes. Everyone, how works for Mini Wargaming should make themselves into an HQ choice and have a tournament to find out how survives the grim dark of the 40K universe. Okay, so I'm just gonna have to do that at some point because I think that's a fun idea. Do I have any Filipino in me? Nope, I am half Chinese. My mom is from Hong Kong, and my dad is Norwegian. Therefore, I am a Kung Fu Viking. Mark of Dave Realmgate for AOS terrain. I don't know why I read it that way. Realmgate. Print Warlord Titan. Again, you might have jumped later on in this conversation, but when it comes to like printing stuff that exists, I'm going to shy away from that. I'm not going to do that. I will create new stuff or have new stuff created rather. That's the direction that I want to go. I'm also going to mention this, okay? Going back here for a moment. Let me just show off this. Yeah. So there is this vote right here. There is this poll that I'm gauging interest on the Mini Wargaming YouTube community. And this is related to this comic strip that was made by Lazy Squire Games, because they're the ones who asked me about it today. And so I just wanted to see what you guys thought about the 3D printed idea in general and how that all would work. So read this comic strip because it's fun and funny, and then vote on this and leave your comments on here on this poll so I know exactly. Let's switch to a Chaos Comment Bomb for a moment because that is tradition and that's just simply what we do. So Chaos Comment Bomb here. I'm gonna have to do this. I'm gonna have to open up Facebook and kind of go there manually because like I said, OBS wasn't working exact same how I wanted. There's a little bit of an issue, so I'm gonna have to post it there like manually. Post it manually. Come on, come up, page, come up. Nope, not coming up. All right, I'm gonna have to search for it manually. All this manual stuff. Boom. Here we go, and here we go. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Internet, for working. Thank you for the patience that you're exhibiting right now, waiting for this thing to work. Okay, I'll click on this, and then I'm going to hit the volume here so you don't hear an echo. And now it's time to include the link to the actual Chaos Comment Bomb. Chaos Comment Bomb, this is the tradition. I'm going to provide a link, and you'll click on the link. It'll bring you to an area of the interwebs. And on this area, you'll leave a comment on a post. So here's the post. This is the post. It's actually today. It's on Instagram. So here we go. Twitch. Okay, I'll leave a block of text. Leave a comment, and it could be something like, Dave says hi from the Shrine of Chaos. Or it could be convert more awesome models because this is amazing awesomeness. And then here I'll do it also on Facebook. And yeah, so this is an Instagram account that is dedicated to the kit bashing and conversions of Citadel miniatures. So pretty cool. So I've included this one post here, their latest one, which is an amazing corn conversion. The original creator is Bits of Box, and it was a repost by Citadel Kit Bash, and super cool. So check that out. Give them a follow if you wish, if you're interested in seeing conversions. I love stuff like this. I love channels that exist like this that promote the community and promote the hobby. And so that's all I'm going to say about that. I'm going to respond to Corius Farron, you should print an Emperor-class Titan. There is no official model of one, so it is fair to make it dedicated to Khorne. I mean, you bring up an interesting point there. That's going to probably take a lot of plastic. No matter how you look at it, it's going to take like just a copious amount of, or resin, or whatever it ends up being. So, a lot. It'll be a lot in either case. This is going to be a shorter shrine today because I have a podcast interview that I'm hopping on right now. And that one, that'll be a deployment zone podcast. So if you guys are members of Deployment Zone TV, check that out when it gets released. And if you're not a member, check it out so you can see them. Winters STO, Liam Dempsey, they are the ones behind that choice. And so they are brothers in arms, and they are allies on the other side of the pond. So check them out. I can't wait to talk to them. It's literally in 3 minutes, so I'm going to let you guys go. And stay tuned next week for the Shrine of Chaos and a continuation of discussions about things and guests and talking and wargaming related. Thank you very much for your feedback about the 3D printed. I got a lot of good ideas here, all because of you guys. Happy wargaming.